Okay, so hi guys, you just saw the intro. Last weekend I made this. So this is a prototype with the metal blade of my folding knife design. And it's from an old piece of junk 01 tool steel metal. And it's a bit too thick. But yeah, it was just playing around because I wanted some insert footage for the mill video. I've seen films where people did the most amazing job. Two years long they were restoring an old machine, and then the movie, which is beautifully edited, ends on a photo and bam, that's it. So in order to not do that, I decided to just start and use the mill. Yeah, and I went on a rampage, and this is the end result. So I want to learn step by step. So I'm gonna grind the blade, heat treat it, and put it in a 3D printed handle. Why that? Because it's very tricky knife design, and there is always some kind of blindness as a designer, because you always think that your design is good enough. So in order to really know for certain if it's good enough, I'm gonna make a functional prototype that I can carry every day. And then we'll see if I have to adjust the shape and if the top swedge is having any use. So that's what we're going to do today. And first of all, I need to assemble my new grinding jig. Okay, so this is where I am right now. I have a 3D printed handle. I'll make a new one as soon as the blade's finished. Here we have the blade with the rivet point, the pivot point, and also the slot for the stop pin. And it will work like this. But what I've thought of is I use a lot of grinding jigs. I'm not good at freehand grinding because it takes me a lot of extra time. So I use jigs. It's a choice I make. But if I want to put this knife in this jig, there is not enough space to keep it there. So now if I'll start grinding, it will go like this, it will turn away. So that's not very helpful. And in order to grind consistently blades like this, I've designed a new grinding jig. I've ordered laser parts, and it's now time to start assembling it. Here's the base for the grinding jig. It works like this. There should be a turnbuckle here. And the blade itself is held in place by these two parts, and there is a bolt in between them, and then this can move up or down, and the blade itself, it's bolted on to the fixture here, and by moving this part forward and upward you can change the angle of the blade. So in theory it all works very well. I forgot to have a part welded on here to attach the turnbuckle, so this is not going to work today. So we made a new setup like this. It looks crazy, but well, we're gonna try it. Maybe you can grind the first blade. It's not going to be perfect anyway, but it's just a learning curve. Okay, so I'm so excited I'm finally making folding knives. I went a bit ahead of myself, and I was starting to grind, and I was looking and I hadn't even marked the areas that I wanted to grind yet, so that wasn't really helpful. So now it's back to the start, and yeah. This is also a good use for a mill, by the way. Use it as a level plate for your scribe, that you always have the right height. Even forget, I'm also gonna grind this part up here, so it needs to be a bit blue for extra contrast as well. Okay, so sit rep, I definitely murdered this blade. As you can see, here it's kinda nice. There's nothing you can sand out and will continue like here, so this is not a problem. But here I went too deep. You can see it as well here. Okay, so both sides are grinded. The one even more terrible than the other. But now I can start using my grinding jig like it's intended to be, with these leveling plates, and I can switch sides without changing the angle, and also the angle of this plunge will be the same. So yeah, I'm finally back on known territory, but that's the thing, you have to learn it one day in order to improve the next. You know those pros from Instagram? They make it look so easy. So this is what I did. It's not terrible, but it's in CAD it's so easy. It's like you have your 3D model, you do chamfer tool, and then it's there. And on Instagram, all those guys are showing perfect blades. The truth is, I think you need to make a lot of blades before you can get it right, and this is certainly not right. So still a long way to go, but I'm liking it. It's a challenge. It's something new. I'm learning stuff. So really happy so far, and we'll see what comes out of it. Okay, so this is the part finished pre-heat treatment. Has some jimping. This side is worse, but I have still some room left because I heat treat it quite thick, and then I can regrind it afterwards. So it's gonna be useful now. Not pretty, useful. Let's settle for that first. While the blade is in the oven, prepping for heat treatment, I'm gonna make the backspacer. So I have a bit of carbon steel here, which I can etch black later to make a nice contrast with the white 3D printed part. So I found something really cool. I was just looking around some boxes trying to find a drill bit, and I found this. So 2 years ago I had a knee surgery and had some time over because I couldn't walk for 6 weeks. But in that time I bought a 3D printer and I designed my first folding knife. So it was a friction folder, and it's a terrible design, but you can actually already start to see the lineage shape appearing, this curve here, and then yeah, so this is 2 years ago. In the same box I found this. So this is also a friction folder, but on washers, and it had a clicking mechanism in it, so some kind of detent. And this is actually the lineage shape, and it has honeycomb, because at the time I was watching John Grindmo and I thought honeycomb was really cool. So if you compare these two, then you can already see a lot of progress and similarities either as well. So you can already see a lot of progress in the knife design. But then if you compare this one right here to, if you compare these ones, yeah, then you see this is a knife. This is like what you buy in a store. And this, with all its details and intricate shapes and double grinds, this is a custom knife. So if you compare 2 years ago, 1 year ago, this year, I'm curious where I'm gonna be next year. With this being some kind of reality TV, I think I can moan a lot, and I'm gonna moan about this right now. So right here I have the metal piece for my backspacer, and I just want to tap M2 threads in it. As expect, I can't find my threading wrench. I had it last week when I used it on the mill to tap the holes for the back cover, and I can't find it ever since. So I thought it was on my tool cart, which dropped last week because one by one all the drawers would come out and then it would tip over, and I thought it was at the bottom. So I've been spending like half an hour trying to get this drawer out, and now I've got it out and it's not there, so I still have to go look for it somewhere else. So yeah, not really happy with that. Good morning everyone, I'm back in the shop. As you can see, the heat treating oven is preparing. I neutralized the blade last Wednesday, so it's now stressless, I hope, so it won't crack during heat treatment. And now I'm busy on the backspacer, and as you can see, I scribbled the shape out and tapped the holes already, which was quite hard because I couldn't find my tapping handles, but yeah, I'm going to focus on this while I'm heat treating the blade. Okay, so I just put the blade in. It's at 650 degrees centigrade right now, and soon, in 10 minutes, I'll ramp up to 805 degrees, keep it there for 15 minutes and then quench it in oil. So while the blade's in the oven, I've finished grinding the backspacer. I grinded away too much material here, but I'm gonna fit it and see what it looks like. Okay, so I turn on the screws. It doesn't fit. This pin needs to be right here, and it's like over here, so it's 1.5 millimeter off, which sucks because now I have to start over again. As you can see, it worked out, and it worked out perfectly. What I did is I hit the backspacer with a hammer. I just bent it a bit more. Now it fits between the two holes, so that works perfectly. Okay, so as you can see, I have a blade here, and when I fit it, it doesn't fits very nicely. So I'm gonna mark with a marker all the material I have to remove in order to make it fit more perfectly. I also want more room for a lanyard, so I'm gonna remove more material here. And also I want this wedge to be deeper, because I removed too much material. For the rest, it's all quite fine. Okay, so first I'm gonna heat treat the blade. Make sure you put on safety glasses, good gloves. I have a fire extinguisher here. Never needed one before, I'm not gonna try it today. Okay, so the backspacer is all finished. What I've got here is a flat level, a piece of sandpaper, a bit of water, a cup of tea, radio, and it's cutie music and just start polishing. Grid 2000, last one before I'm gonna stop. Okay, so here might be an interesting thing. I thought that when I started folding knife making that the hardest part I had to learn would be something like milling, speeds and feeds, that kind of stuff. But what I found out is that finishing all these small mechanical parts is giving me actually more problems. So I might not have the patience to make this stuff really. So interesting what's gonna get of it. Right now I've spent 1.5 hours. Heat treatment is finished, so to get the blade out of the oven, but yeah, spent around 1.5 hours just polishing one surface on this backspacer. It's a lot of time. This is the knife right now. It looks very nice, I guess. I finished the backspacer. It's all nice and shiny, which is good, but I made a significant error, and I'm gonna show you what I did. I polished the flat sides first, so they're all great, but the spine, and if I can get it to focus, the spine is all not that nice yet. And I had hoped to do this with a Scotch-Brite wheel. That doesn't work good enough, and what I have to do now is do it by hand. And the only way I can do it by hand is by clamping the polished sides of the backspacer in a vise, which would be okay to do if I then were to polish these sides. So for next time, first do the back sides which you can't clamp, and then once those are finished you can polish the sides by swiping it over sanding paper without damaging the already done finish on the other faces of the part. So yeah, now I'm gonna try do it with tape on the vise in order to not damage the polished side, but next time it's all about learning. Yes, it's definitely shiny, as you can see. You can see all the reflections of my hand. It's a mirror polish. Okay, now that the backspacer is all done, I just have to finish the blade. As you can see, it's still quite thick, so I need to fix that. So I'm gonna grind it first, then I'm gonna polish it, and then I'm gonna make the stop pin, and then it should be finished. So I have to grind this part, but also this part right here, because I wanted this part to be sharp as well. I want it to be a chisel grind. This is the result after hard grinding the blade. It's not fantastic, but I decided to do more by hand. I can clean up these lines by hand, and it's less of a risk so far in the project. And yeah, the rest of it looks quite good. So if I finish this one and I etch it, then I'll have my first knife finished. There are so many things you can do with a mill. You can use it as a mill, you can use it as a lathe, you can also use it as the perfect platform for the kitchen, because it's important to drink every now and then. So I'm gonna make myself a cup of tea. And then I always want my burner to be straight, and nothing straighter in my workshop than the base of my mill. So yeah. It's cold, so a nice cup of tea will be warm. Still sanding. Okay, so here's where I'm gonna stop. It's not a really nice blade, but I kept grinding and I kept removing material, and it's almost already completely sharp. So I'm gonna go home, There I have hot water, and with hot water I can gun blue this blade black. Then tomorrow I'll start using my mill as a lathe to shorten the screws and the pins. I'll have the new 3D printed handle, and then my first folding knife should be ready. So yeah, looking forward to it. I've been busy with this for 2.5 years now, and it would be nice to finally cut something properly with my own first folding pocket knife, even though it's a friction folder. Okay, so I really couldn't help myself leaving now for home. So this is my pivot. I ordered them from AliExpress and they're actually quite good. It's now 10.5 millimeters long, needs to be 7. So I'm gonna shorten it with my mill, and I was thinking of a couple of ways how I could do this. First of all, I could use a chisel and put it in the mill, in the vise, and then use the mill as the rotation. But I think I'm gonna use my face mill, and that it will be more effective. So just need to remove 3.5 millimeters. Let's see how it works. Hopefully nothing shoots away. Okay, so I found it, and I think I ruined this pivot. Yeah, that's not useful anymore. Should have gone home anyways. As you can see, the pivot is now the perfect height. It sticks out a bit. If we add the other handle, falls in nicely. I even have some space left for some nylon washers. But what I am seeing is that a hole isn't threaded deep enough, so I have to drill it out and tap it myself, I guess. But yeah, tolerances are good on these pivots, so I really like them. Well, remember I just said I really like these AliExpress pivots. I don't like them anymore, and I'm gonna tell you why. The hole wasn't tapped deep enough, so I tried to drill it out and tap it myself, and when I screwed it in, the threads immediately stripped. With other words, they're useless. So I'm gonna have to make them myself. I have a lathe at home, but I only use it to thread plastic 3D print stuff, so I'll have to make some modifications to it. So I think I'm gonna end the video on this segment. I hope you liked it. I will make more videos like it. It's a new series. It's called Knives by the Sea, and I hope to see you again next time. Okay, for those by the way wondering why it's called Knives by the Sea, just look at the view. And back there, behind that dike, there's the Oosterschelde, which is a sea arm of the North Sea. So yeah, I think it's very legit to call it Knives by the Sea. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you again next time.